How many CTOs does it take? This podcast is all about exploring the vexing questions of engineering management and software engineering, the challenges and problems that we face that nobody seems to have found a good solution for, and seeing if we can explore, discuss, uncover, and maybe, just possibly, find a way forward to solve some of these problems.
Welcome to Channel 2, where tech meets the road, where CTOs share the tales and the comments. From startups to big names, innovations unfold. How many CTOs will share their stories untold?
Scott, you and I have known each other for years, and we started chatting regularly, just as sort of like CTO to CTO support group. Um, banging our heads against the wall for these problems that we've run into throughout our career. And I think I mentioned to you like, hey, this is a lot of fun. We're talking about this. Is there a way for us to like turn this into a larger conversation? And I think that's really what inspired us to turn this into a podcast. The idea that these things that we keep running into, how to manage technical debt, how to measure the performance of an engineering team, how to have a stronger relationship between the product stakeholders and the engineers themselves. Um, we've through our career, we keep running into these things, and each organization sort of struggles with these challenges. And so our goal here with How Many CTOs Does It Take podcast is to sort of is to explore those challenging problems. We don't think we've solved it, right? You haven't solved it yet, have you, Scott?
No, nobody's solved it. That's the thing that's so both challenging, invigorating, and frustrating all at the same time.
Right. So with this podcast, the two of us get together, we talk through these challenges. We bring other CTOs on, interview them, and talk to them about the challenges that they're facing. We're bringing in product folks, stakeholders, CEOs, chief product officers, to try to explore this space with them as well. And that's our goal here with How Many CTOs Does It Take podcast, to explore these challenges that we all face, and hopefully maybe uh, find some answers. Find some answers in this giant ball of mud.
Yeah, Brad, I just want to talk to people and ask, how have you done it? Do you see a light at the edge of the forest? Is there a way that you've made progress? And just, I haven't figured out a lot of these things, and I just want to talk to other people and see if I can learn from them to see if they've figured out these things. And most people haven't. The conversations often end up being pretty frustrating, or I don't know if frustrating is the right word, but like, well, we figured out nothing in this hour. But sometimes, just through the exploration and the discussion, we get a little bit better understanding of the shape of the problem.
Yeah, I think that's the key. And I also think that, when I've talked to other CTOs or other engineering leaders, um, they we have this common set of themes that we all run into. And then when you talk to uh, product owners or non-technical founders, maybe CEOs or product team members, um, they often feel very helpless in understanding what it is we do behind the curtain, right? There's often this mystery to what it is that the engineering team is doing. And so I think that's another really interesting aspect of these conversations, is to try to have to try to build that communication channel, improve that communication channel, to try to get a better understanding of what those non-technical founders, non-technical executives, what their struggles are, so that we can do a better job of both advocating for the engineering teams, advocating for the technology, and also advocating for the businesses back to the engineering team, right? Helping the engineers understand the challenges that the business people face, right? And sort of build that two-way um, communication channel.
Yeah, I mean, as an engineering leader, whether your title is head of engineering, VP of engineering, CTO, whatever your title is, as the person who leads an engineering team, that is maybe the most important part of your job, is to be that bridge, to be the Rosetta Stone, the human Rosetta Stone, so to speak, between what your stakeholders want and what your engineering teams do, because it really, they're perpendicular to each other. They're different languages, they're different rhythms, they're, you know, I don't even know how to describe it. And one of the things that I think we can do, I don't even think, I think one of the things we do that is of most service to our business stakeholders is help them understand and find ways to explain to them engineering in language they understand. And I don't mean as much engineering like, well, I'm, you know, here's the code I'm writing. And I mean a little even less like, hey, why would you choose one database technology over another? But more the impact, the costs and benefits of what we're doing in ways that they can understand. And often that means translating from our language to their language.
Yeah.
Very rarely can I effectively translate from their language to our language. I have to go the other way and figure out how to express what we're doing in engineering in terms of time or money or outcomes or whatever, customer experiences, etc. Very rarely can I get it to go the other way and get
Yeah.
non-engineers to understand the other way around. In part, I think because so much of the engineering side is kind of, well, it is a craft, and so much of that craft is based on experience and learning over time. It's not based on, it's not just paint by numbers or very mechanical.
100% agree with all of that. Another thing that I think is interesting, I had a mentor, one of my earliest executive mentors. I first became a VP, and this mentor, he used to always say, engineer meets problem, problem goes away. Engineer meets wrong problem goes away. And I think that is a nice, it's a nice summary of another concept that we hear a lot about.
Mm-hmm.
Before you come with solutions, really understand the problem. And that's, I think, most of us sort of understand that. But when I think about that, what was great about this mentor was he was a a technologist and a business person, and he taught me how to wear both those hats in a way that for the non-technical business owner, um, it's so hard for them often um, to articulate the real problem that they have in a way that uh, is open-minded to potential multiple solutions. And often it's human nature for technologists, for sure. Technologists love solutioning, and often non-technologists also sort of gravitate towards solutions. And so, sort of that's another really important piece of this, and it comes up in multiple themes that we touch on. You know, technical debt, product debt. Um, how do you measure performance? How do you measure, um, appropriateness of a project? How do you scope a project? um, this notion of that translation, that Rosetta Stone, as you said, between what is the product stakeholders, what do they really need for the business to succeed, and translating that into words that the engineers can understand so that so they solve the right problem, they build the right thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then being able to communicate back to those stakeholders. This is why that's hard, because it's so often they don't understand, like, two asks sound equally hard to them. And the thing that's easy to change in the code versus difficult to change in the code is often a complete mystery, and it's almost unfathomable to them that one is hard and one is easy. And so being able to be that real connective tissue is a big part of these challenges that I think we face.
Well, Brad, it seems like we could have these conversations endlessly. There's never a good place to stop, but now is the time to stop.
Everybody remember to subscribe, rate and review. That helps us grow our listenership, and we really appreciate the time that you put in to listen to this episode. It's great talking to you again, Scott. See you next week.
Bye, Brad.
This episode of How Many CTOs Does It Take podcast was edited by Saffron Eftigal. Our theme song was AI generated by Brad. Please follow us on all the social media platforms at How Many CTOs Pod. You can find us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, X, TikTok, and Patreon, or at our website at howmanyctospod.com. And remember to rate, review, and subscribe on the podcast platform of your choice. Thanks for listening.